Another heartbreaking hotel quarantine story that's emerging this morning. This is Anthony McCormick.
Well, I'm going to play this video in a moment. I don't understand what's going on. Australia seems to be the only place that's questioning everybody, and now they put this story out. I'm very sorry for this person if this happened, but myself, I thought that I would show it because obviously other people have probably had to go through something like this a lot over the last year and a half, so I feel very sorry for people, so I thought I'd put this out. But I have Gary with me. Gary, I played it to you. What did you think?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds real, but we have to take a critical eye now of everything, don't we? I mean, it sounds pretty sick, but could it possibly, I mean, if he hears this like on his real life, probably would wring me neck, but could it be possible that the crisis...
So you're saying it's very sad. Sorry, someone rang me.
It's a very sad thing if it's true. I mean, I went through a similar thing like just over a year ago with my uncle. I mean, with him, COVID indirectly did kill him. He wouldn't go to the hospital because he was terrified. So if he'd have gone to the hospital, he probably still would have been alive today. But he unfortunately, he watched TV like 24/7. But this particular case, it does sound real. But I have a question mark over everything these days. I just don't know.
But even if they, because what it is we know the news make things up. But say this is real, and I'm very sorry for this person. There's got to be loads of other people like him. But it's really strange that they're talking. It's very strange they're talking about it now, Gary.
Yeah, but there's definitely cases that are...
It didn't just start happening yesterday. This has been going on since like March last year.
A year and a half nearly, where people can't see their loved ones in care homes, and then they have to go into quarantine afterwards.
A bit different for me, but because of this thing, I haven't seen my grandchildren twice now for 6 months because of this.
Yeah. It's a terrible thing. I mean, I'll go through a similar thing with my relatives, you know, and the younger ones and all that. So I just think like it's pretty much worldwide, you know, with not being able to see loved ones. I mean, you know, I can be quite alone. I mean, I enjoyed it when I was down with you. It's fantastic, but also, I mean,
you don't mind a bit of space, but it's when you're told, and it goes on for weeks and weeks and months.
Exactly.
And then, did you watch my Boris video with him saying the mind control? Oh my God.
Oh, no, I haven't seen that yet. No. But the thing is, I hate to say it, folks. I can smell something else brewing. I don't.
Well, what he basically is saying is the Australians again. They're going, Struth. Well, the British have more cases, have more people jabbed, have more, and we're in total lockdown. And now the Prime Minister's saying it's your choice. So he goes, well, after we've finished with the control of the people, now we're backing off and it's up to you. So I repeat it a few times on the video. I was a bit shocked that, you know, how many people would have listened to that and would have thought, oh my God, yes, we've been mind controlled.
Yeah. Well, a lot of people won't pick up on it, will they? I mean, us lot will, but other people won't. This is the dilemma we've got.
That's the point of this video. You end up looking at everything with a critical eye, don't you?
I think you've got to look at everything with a critical eye now, because we know things in the past, like 9/11, Boston bombing, and all the rest of it. So, you know, just using them as a few examples there. But that was it. I know I something to tell you. Not going off the track a little bit. Yesterday, I was gonna send you a text or phone you up. On Radio 2, Jeremy Vine does a show every day, and there was a bit about half hour about the shape of the Earth, and they're saying like it's an ellipsoid now. It's like it's what Neil deGrasse Tyson calls it, like an oblique spheroid. But there was people ringing up saying like, oh yeah, what about these idiots like that think they're flat earthers and one bit and another? You know, I have people turn around and say the Earth's flat and all that. And then he turned around and said, we know it ain't like, because we see the shots of like the moonlight of the Earth, and I thought that bloke has got to be what we just said. He was paid to sort of like phone up and say things with me, Karen.
Yes, well, this is the kind of thing they do, and everybody believes them. But you know, just for this video, I was just like, when I first heard it, I was like, oh, and then you go, but you know, it looks like it's real, and I'm really sorry for this person if he had to go through that. But I just imagine he's not the only one.
No, I know. I mean, put it this way, like, you know, God rest his mother's soul, like, you know, if it is a true story, God rest her soul, and I apologise profusely. But we have to take a critical eye on everything. But there has been cases of this happening. I mean, you know, I know people that work in care homes, and they said like that, you know, about a year ago, people weren't allowed to sort of like go and visit their dying relatives, and I should imagine a lot of people in care homes, they do need that
I don't understand,
that
because,
connection.
you know, in there's going to be people coming around with the food, then you've got the nurses and the doctors. All those people can see your relative, but you can't.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you know, I think this football that's gone on, you know, I like my football, like, and I've been watching
Yeah, so
that.
why has all that continued then? If everything, you know, I've been watching the news, they say the
I think they're going to use it.
the spikes are going up. So why are we having all these people? Anyway, we've talked about that, and that hint hopefully makes people realise maybe what they might do. But we can't. I don't want to. Yeah, it was just this video. You know, you know, thank God that someone's decided to have a heart. It says family hearts break. Let's have some hearts. And, you know, there's no compassion. There's no nothing.
Yeah, it seems like compassion is sort of like gone at the moment out of the human race, isn't it? People don't. I still have people like avoid me, you know, walking down the road like, and they see me exemption pass, and they sort of like.
Yeah, I was actually wondering. Just say I was outside the shop and I went, oh, and I fell to the ground. Would people help me nowadays, or would they just leave me there?
Well, I did about a year ago where I live. Like, a bloke fell down the hill, and I went to help him, and no one else was helping him, and another bloke did, bless him, like an angel.
It's just so sad to make us frightened of each other. They've tried every way they can. They've done it through let's hate this people, let's hate that people, and now we're here. Oh, let's just hate each other. It doesn't matter what race you are now, just as long as you hate each other.
Long before this, I remember many years ago when I
Oh,
was
you're
out
a threat.
on the road,
Keep away from me. You're a threat.
I see a bloke laying in the road once, like, and people, rather than a car stop and dragging him out the road, they were driving around him. They were like, poor bloke was laying in the road, and they were driving around him, and I think we went up, like, you know, we got hold of him and got into the side road. Yeah, I mean, you know.
People don't like to help anymore, but sometimes when, you know, legally, if you get involved, things can turn around and become your fault. That's the arse of the law. But Gary, we're going to finish now. I'm going to go. I'm going to go and see my granddaughter now. I'm really looking forward to that. But I'm very sorry for anybody who's lost people.
Yeah, I feel so sorry for the guy, and God rest her soul, and bless you, mate. You know, if it is true.
It's horrible you've got to think like that, though, isn't it? But Gary, thanks a lot.
It's a shame when you got to think like that. You've got to say these things, because that's the trouble now. We don't know what is fact from fiction anymore, do we?
No, we don't. Anyway, hey, thanks for helping me, Gary.
Okay.
Thanks a lot. And to this man's mum.
Yeah. Bye.
A Cairns man who's been living in Canada racing home to his mum in a Brisbane hospital after she was diagnosed with cancer.
So I went to school with Anthony at St Augustine's in Cairns. He's right now in New South Wales quarantine, has been granted an exemption to leave. However, Queensland Health are denying his entry to the state. Anthony joins us now from hotel quarantine. Anthony, I wish it was under better circumstances, my man, in talking to you. Firstly, how are you doing? How is your mum doing?
G'day, Cal. Yeah, she passed away last night, and so that was.
Oh, mate.
You know, we thought we might get another week out of that. So it's sort of the end of the road there.
Oh, mate.
So she was basically put on blood transfusions for as long as she could stand it until I could get there. You know, she was very upset that I couldn't get in there to see her, and that was really what she was hanging on for. And you know, so you know, the situation is, you know, I've got 12 days in this room now to sort of process this thing on my own.
Oh, mate, that is just.
You know, I can't get any bearings on the situation. It's, you know, there's no context here. There's no feedback. I can't touch anyone. I can't see anyone, you know, beyond the odd sort of Zoom call. And, you know, it's just sort of me and these four tiny walls for the next 12 days. And, So there's plenty of sides to this story. You know my mum. It's all about my mum. She was desperate to see me. My stepdad is now all on his own. He'll have some support coming in shortly for him. And having known what I know now and the impossibility of it, I would have been far better off staying in Canada, to be honest.
Oh, mate,
where my wife is, where I have freedom to get outside and so forth. So it's really turned bad in a whole lot of ways for everyone involved. Yeah.
Mate,
we had no idea, Anthony. We thought, we were going to try and hopefully get you out to see your mum in time to hear that news and to see you alone.
No, it's truly, it's awful, mate. And the pain that you're feeling right now, we're feeling a tiny bit of it, and we didn't even know your mum. We're so sorry.
It's it is what it is. The hoops of what I had to go through to get here were quite monumental. I had to get a negative COVID test. I had to get that done within 72 hours of, my last connecting flight. That was that was a mission in itself. Trying to, I lost 12 hours in that 72 because of the connecting flight window. So that was an exercise in precision to get that done. Then there's almost no flights going to Brisbane, by the way, from the the west coast of North America. Everything goes through Sydney, and I suppose that's because of the reduced passenger demand. And if there was sort of one or two flights that would have got me to Brisbane directly, were going to cost me in the order of $15,000 to $28,000.
Oh, mate.
I suppose I've been sort of economically forced to land in Sydney.
Anthony,
and it doesn't end there. New South Wales had granted me an exemption to fly out of here to Brisbane, but only on the proviso that I could reproduce a negative COVID test, and the commercial airlines wouldn't fly me. So I arranged a commercial, air charter, put them on standby, and that was $9,000.
Anthony, can I ask you this? Are you now? Your mum, we're just looking at photos of her. She looked like she travelled a lot around the world. You now instead of having to look forward to seeing her and farewelling her in person, were you? I mean, now you have a funeral to plan for. I mean, and when is that? And what? Yeah. Where do you even start?
This all happened so fast. I mean, she was diagnosed only 3 weeks ago when she fell ill. By the time they figured out that prognosis of what it really looked like, I was then scrambling to get on board. I mean, my stepdad and I don't even know what the funeral arrangements are right now. So, we're going to uncover that shortly. But, here's sort of the real point I want to make. I mean, I could sit here and bash the system all day long, and certainly, New South Wales Health were amazing. I mean, they had proactively called me before I even got on the flight. They had their exemption plan all laid out, and while I was on the flight, they'd actually executed it. Queensland Health, on the other hand, were silent, and it wasn't until I landed and I had to start chasing them up, to get things moving. Now, I didn't receive a single proactive phone call from Queensland Health. I don't recall. Yet New South Wales were on the phone constantly to me, calling the hotel room. But I don't want to focus on that. The point I want to make right now is this point about compassion.
Yeah.
These are supposed to be compassionate policies, but I think these policies are very confused about what compassion means.
Yeah.
And there's two aspects to this.
Anthony,
we saw a football game in Queensland last night with crowds, with people not wearing masks. That's okay, that's fine. Yet we can't find a way, this long into this pandemic, to let loved ones see a dying relative, or in Anthony's case, not get there in time.
It's heinous. It's so awful. And
it's heartless.
You've got to say goodbye now. Tell us before we go, and because we'll touch base with you again, my man. You are in quarantine now for a bit. tell us just something about what you'd like to have said to your ma, something about her, something.
Yeah, look, my mum and stepdad spent, a great part of their life serving, their communities of Mossman and Port Douglas, north of Cairns. Pete was the local vet. His veterinary practice was virtually a community centre. I mean, back in the 90s, you could go and, in between surgeries, smoke an unfiltered cigarette and have a coffee with him. And they're sort of great stories. I'm not even scratching the surface with Pete in North Queensland. Like it's just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And then, my mum was the bank manager in the same area there, and she would constantly skirt the rules to get hardworking Aussies, access to reasonable banking services. And so, all this great compassion that they've shown to their communities, just isn't getting returned here from the Queensland government. And I don't want to say it's appalling, but it kind of is appalling.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable what they did for those communities.
Good on you, mate.
I just can't get anything back.
Anthony, we're going to, unfortunately, look, we'll talk to you in the break, but we do, you have all of our love, all of our thoughts and all of our prayers, and we feel some of your pain, not nearly enough, but we appreciate you being on and telling the story, and hopefully we can move towards some resolution in all this horrid pain that people are experiencing. Thank you, mate.
Thanks, Anthony.
Stay with us.
Thanks, guys.
We'll be back with more today right after this.